Hey guys, coming at you today from Siberia. Well, actually, I'm not in Siberia. I'm actually in Nottingham, the centre of England, and we've had two storms. We've had something that we've called the Beast from the East coming over from, I think it's like Poland or Norway, and we've had Storm Emma coming up from the south. Oh my God. My dogs. So as you can hear, it's really windy, which is why I'm holding you quite close to my face, trying to shield you from the wind. But today I'm going to be answering some of the most commonly asked questions about remote working. And also I'm going to link to a blog recently written by our community manager Lucia, where she covers off a lot of these topics as well in a bit more detail. One of the first questions I get asked quite a lot from other business owners is, how do you practically manage and scale up a remote working team? And it's a really good question. It's a really valid one, and it's certainly one that, like, me and Dan asked ourselves when we started Quuu, because we'd worked together remotely, and it's fine as a partnership or a freelancer working by themselves. That's not an issue, because it's a lot easier when you've only got two people. But what about when you've got a marketing department, a growth team, a content team, a support staff, and they're all in different areas? They could literally be anywhere in the world. What do you do then? Well, I guess rather boringly, actually it's no different to scaling up a normal team and managing a normal team. Things happen a little faster because it's digital and you have a lot more conversations because it's all online. Things happen simultaneously. Okay, we're back.
Sorry guys, that was way too windy, so I came inside to finish off answering that question. So as I was saying, things happen a lot quicker when you work remotely, and I really am of the opinion that they happen a lot more efficiently. So if you're working in an actual office, if you wanted to have a meeting or a conference with the rest of your teammates, then you'd have to organise that, and presumably, so you don't disrupt everyone else, go off into a conference room somewhere at the side, into some glass cubicle, and you'd be in there for longer than you'd normally be if you were just talking in a chat room on Slack, because you'd go in and go, right, we've got everyone, no, so-and-so's making a cup of tea, all right, well, time to come back, and then you'd sort of get all the small talk out the way and get on with the meeting, and then at the end of it all you've got to get back in, and it disrupts people seeing you come and go. Whereas online, using Slack, it's just a seamless thing that happens in an instant. You just start talking in a different channel dedicated to that subject matter, and it's something that you can do alongside other discussions. And so you can essentially have work-related discussions concurrently over multiple different topics without all of the disruption and the small talk and the other things that basically are a waste of time. So you get to have a lot more conversations, and the added benefit of all of this is that there's a written ledger of all of these meetings and discussions and brainstorms in Slack, so you can revert back to them if you need to. Whereas if you're just doing a meeting in a conference room, then unless you've actually recorded the meeting itself, you don't have that facility. And even if you do, it's a bit of a pain to go back and sort of find, well, who's got the recording of that? Can you send it to me? And then you have to listen to it. So for a multitude of reasons, I feel like you can actually be way more efficient working remotely. So I digress a little bit, but the question was, how do you manage on a day-to-day basis? And well, it's really quite the same as you would manage a normal physical team at an office. As you grow, you have presumably trained people up to be specialists in certain areas, and you then make them managers of their own team. So you just assign people where they're best placed to that new manager, and they then are responsible for supervising, training, mentoring that person as well. And that means that you can scale as large as you like. I mean, you can look at companies like Buffer, who have got, well, certainly at one point they had about 100 employees, and they really were remote working, like all over the world. Like most of us are in the UK, but Buffer's team were all over the world, and they've managed to produce an incredibly efficient and very loyal, energetic working environment for their employees. So it really goes to show that it can be done. It's no different to scaling a normal team, frankly. It has all the same challenges and all the same characteristics. It's just you're not in the same room. So the other question is, do I trust that my team are doing their work? Well, yes, I do. We basically the way we do things at Quuu is we review all of our content through our own app, and that means that Sam, our developer, has created a really nifty bit of software inside of the app which tracks who's reviewed which piece of content when, what kind of submission it was, and it basically feeds back stats about the volume of work that each employee has done. So we can assess in quite a lot of detail what our employees are doing in terms of their workload across the week, across the month, across the quarter, whatever we want to look at. And in terms of other areas of the business, like customer support, we use Intercom. And Intercom is another fantastic tool for SaaS companies and for remote working teams to manage the support of their website. So people come on, there's a live chat there and it's a help base. But what Intercom has naturally built in is the ability to see statistics of how many people in your team have answered, how many conversations, how many replies there were, what sort of rating the user has given them in terms of feedback. So we've got both quantitative and qualitative feedback and information about what our team are doing. But aside from all of that, any good company should be aware of what their team are doing based on just being involved with what and taking an interest in what they're actually doing at the time. So you should be looking and setting tasks for them each week, having briefings and understanding what they've achieved, what they've struggled with, what they've done well. So you should be on top of things anyway, and I think that's a trait that whether you're a remote working company or you work from a physical office, that should be happening anyway. So I mean, yes, we totally trust that what our team are doing. If anything, again, I would say as a remote working company, you end up being more aware of what's happening with your team than if you were a manager at a physical office. Don't I just work in my PJs? God, literally everyone asks this question, and Lucia answers it in her blog. So I tried not to cross over on the questions that she's answered, and don't forget to check out that blog. It's in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube. But yes, sometimes I do personally work in my pajamas. Sometimes I spend 2 whole days in my pajamas, and you know, that's just if I want to. It's completely up to the person. Like, if you don't think that you work very well in your pajamas, then get changed. It's no different. I mean, honestly, even if I had an office for Quuu and we had to go into work each day, I'd still say to people, wear whatever you're comfortable in and whatever you feel like you work best in. Obviously, if you have a customer-facing job where you meet with clients or whatever it may be, or if you're in like a sales team and it gives you a boost to be wearing a suit, then that's great, and I can totally see the logic. But as a SaaS company that doesn't deal face to face with our users, there's really no call for us to do it. So yeah, sometimes I do work in my pajamas, and it's just one of the perks of working remotely. But it's not a negative thing. It's not like because I'm wearing my pajamas I spend my day in bed. I do still do my work. It's just I'm, you know, wearing fleecy, delightful, comfy pajamas instead of work clothes. Okay, well, once again, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope it was useful for you, and I hope it answered a couple of questions that you may have had about remote working. Sorry about the audio at the beginning, but I did want to try and do some out and about recording, but it was just far too windy. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next vlog.